following is a presentation of Main Street Media, your source for news, sports, and information on Main Street in Middle Tennessee. And welcome into a Hump Day edition of Main Street Sports Today. Our weekly visit includes Heather Williams from WCYB TV talking NASCAR, Greg SEITZ, Athletics Director at Jacksonville State Hockey. Chris, State Hockey. Yes, looking forward to it. We got the helmet. We'll be sure to let him know that is there. Looking forward to talking with him. Also, the Braves in a day game with the Mets in the rubber match. Not looking so hot at this moment. We'll talk about that. Always college football to discuss and so much more. This is Main Street Sports Today, and it is presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Over to the gentleman, the Hall of Famer and Sports Writer of the Year in a lovely lavender top today, and the Suntrop kid from Alabama, Chris Yao. Top.
I mean, it is on the
As
top
opposed
of your
to the
bottom.
bottom. Yes,
Not
a
a
nice
shirt.
polo shirt. It's a nice polo.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah.
I thought I'd get a rise out of you by calling it a top.
Better than a po high, I guess. Not entirely sure it is or not. I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Happy Wednesday, gentlemen.
It is Wednesday. Hump Day it is. And glad to have you guys with us as we are excited for today's show. I know this is going to be a good one. We might have to keep Heather a little longer than we normally would. There's a lot to talk about today in the NASCAR world, so we're going to get into it for sure. And of course, Greg SEITZ. Hopefully, we'll get into what his thoughts on what could happen in the world of college sports with the latest conference realignment, but also what is it like dealing with the EA Sports folks and getting your stadium on the NCAA football game. I'm curious what he thinks the impact is going to be, or if he's already seen some impact. Who knows? They've been involved in a lot of the hype to this point. So it's pretty exciting stuff. Going to be a great day. Today's top story, Mo, comes from yesterday. You were out at Summit and news kind of broke, I guess, just before that.
Yeah.
And Chris Parson, no S, and he will be very angry on his Twitter if you do not spell it right.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. And as well he should. It's pretty easy. I'm a 4-star guy. You can't give my name.
You
right.
should know my name.
Give my name. But Chris Parson, no S, and has decommitted from Florida State. And basically, here's the thing. They offered two more quarterbacks
In his class.
over the weekend. So
You'll need me.
clearly, you don't think I'm the guy for you? I'll go find a place where I'm the guy.
Yeah. I mean, recruiting quarterbacks is always an interesting dynamic because they want to be the guy. You can sign 6 running backs, 6 safeties, but when you start signing multiple quarterbacks, the days of bringing in Peyton Manning and Brandon Stewart in the same recruiting class, those days are gone.
Yeah, especially when you're Florida State. I can get away with that if you're Ohio State or Alabama. You're not getting away with it if you are at the success rate.
Never mind that being Florida State is even more reason to sign multiple quarterbacks.
Well, yeah,
Just for the standpoint that you need that security net.
Yeah.
In case you've missed on a guy.
Sure. And that's probably what Mike Norvell is thinking. But that doesn't always work out in with high school kids. I mean, high school kids.
three in one class that's
a lot.
That's a lot at the quarterback.
But how much of that has to do with the transfer portal? You expect some guys are going to transfer. So get as many in here as you can with a signing class and
see how it shakes out.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense from Florida State's end, but at the same time, they have to realize that
it makes sense from Chris Parsons' end too.
Right. Because again, the days of bringing in multiple guys at that spot it's rare anyway, and it's even more rare now. I'm surprised they've got 2, and it'll be interesting to see if they get to December with 2.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because those 2 committed so close together, they probably didn't know the other committed, by the time that they'd made that decision.
Mm-hmm.
So who knows? December's a long way away.
Well, and December of 22 is a long way away from July of 2021, which is when Chris Parson committed.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's another part of you have to do what's best for you. And like he said, look, he grew up a Florida State fan, always dreamed of wearing garnet and gold, but you got to do what's best for you. And if, here's the thing. He hasn't said he's not going to Florida State. He just reopened his recruitment.
And, it's tough watching these guys take themselves out of the competition sometimes. What's wrong with going down there? Heck, maybe you're the best of the 3.
Winning it. Sure, I see that. But you also, I would rather go compete with 1 guy than 2, probably, just because it's, obviously less.
You're gonna have
people.
You're gonna have to compete
At some point, sure.
regardless of where you go.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I certainly would not deign to tell Chris Parson how to handle his recruitment. But if you grew up a Florida State fan, why not give yourself that opportunity? I mean, if you get in there and you realize this ain't for me after all, then there's always a transfer portal. Plenty of guys are in it.
Well, that might be the problem too. All I'm saying is, if it's me, it's a lot easier to feel like to go compete at Ohio State or Alabama or Clemson than it is to compete at Florida State when, if I'm wasting a year, I'm not even getting a ring out of it. Come on. So I don't know. It's just, I get it on both sides. I get it.
I get it. I mean, I don't have an issue with it.
Either one of them.
Bottom line, again, Mike Norvell's got to do what's best for him,
Sure.
and if he wants to continue drawing a check in Tallahassee, Florida, he's got to hit on some guys pretty quick.
Sure, no question.
And it'll be interesting to see where Chris winds up.
It will.
And I think,
and it'll be even more interesting watching him this year, trying to prove to maybe some other teams that weren't looking at him. He's got a little bit to play for now.
well, I think he recently made visits to Mississippi State and SMU,
Mhm.
according to the article on Main Street Preps by Russell Venozzi that posted yesterday. I think he's looking at those 2. I think also Indiana, and there was somebody else, I can't remember who, but and he's got options.
Absolutely.
So.
JP, we're going to send it back to you over in the corner. Tell us what happened
The corner.
in the world of
Nobody puts JP in a
Come on
corner
now.
except
He did.
JP.
He did. So
Come on.
he's in the corner.
Yeah.
We will send it to you. Tell us what happened in the world of sports yesterday and what's going to happen today.
This is the Rundown.
All right, on this Wednesday rundown from Tuesday's results. Major League Baseball, the Reds over the Yankees 4-3. Blue Jays, same score over the Phillies. Braves 4-1 over the Mets. They flipped that from the previous day. Brewers 6-3 over the Twins. Cardinals 7-6 over the Dodgers. Orioles 4-2 over the Cubs. Memphis down the Sounds 2-1 last night in their series opener at First Horizon, right? They're in Nashville this time because they were in Memphis the previous meeting. NBA Summer League action. Oh, the Grizzlies 120-84 over the Nets, although I don't believe they had a KD or a KI or any of those initials playing for the Nets.
AD, Kyrie, none of
Yeah,
them.
none of them. Schedule for today in progress, the Mets and the Braves. Do we want to unveil the update on that?
We sure don't.
Okay, all right. We'll move on. Brewers, Twins, same thing in progress. Day baseball. It's getaway day. For
1-1.
1-1.
That one.
Okay. Reds of the Yankees tonight, 6:05. Dodgers, Cardinals, 6:45. And at 7:05, you got Orioles and the Cubs. Sounds continue their series with Memphis, 7:05 first pitch from First Horizon Park. You can hear that 94.9 ESPN Radio with Jeff Him, our Friday regular guest, voice of the Nashville Sounds. In soccer, American soccer, I guess. Well, that's the only soccer there is. They call it football. Anyway, we'll not go into that. Seattle Sounders FC, Nashville FC. That is tonight, 7:30 on my TV 30. By the way, I had somebody ask me to go to that game tonight. I had to turn them down.
That's sad.
It is sad. Yeah, I'd like to go to a game. I'm sure they're fun. They seem to have a really good crowd experience. So, and that, my friends, is your rundown brought to you by Insert Your Business Here. It is available if you want to join us here at Main Street Sports today.
There you go. We'll take a quick break and we'll talk to Heather Williams, who can also be sponsored if you are looking to do so. You know, and we'll make her tell you the sponsors every week, just like the NASCAR. Matter of fact, there are like 20 sponsorships open for Heather.
Yeah.
Just like NASCAR.
Just like NASCAR. You just got to go through all of them. But Heather will join us on the other side of the break, so y'all stick around on Main Street Sports today. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ed Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, ZionEagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's ZionEagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
Are you an enthusiastic sports fan? Want to have fun and get in on the action?
Heck yes, that'd be awesome.
Have great attention to detail? Want to stay active?
Definitely.
Want to give back to the student athletes in your community?
Obviously, yes.
Then you'd make an excellent high school sports official. We need more officials in Tennessee, because with no high school officials, there are no high school sports. Sign up today at highschoolofficials.com.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net.
Still to come on this Wednesday edition, Greg SEITZ. He's the AD, that would be athletic director at Jacksonville State University. It is university right there.
It is.
JSU. That's what the U stands for. Yeah, JSU.
Also,
Sure.
also Wayne County native.
Wayne County native.
Yes, sir.
Oh, nice. Well,
Yeah.
there you go. It's close to the motherland.
The Waynesboro action.
Yeah. He'll be joining us at 3 o'clock today. A variety of questions. Looking forward to having him on. Plenty of other stuff, including Braves. But always a pleasure with our Wednesday guest as we talk things that go round and rounds.
Vroom, vroom.
Vroom, vroom.
That's where I thought you were going. I didn't think you were going.
Yeah,
around.
you know, well,
You know, they go round and round less often these days.
Well, that's
and
what
just added another road.
that was in the back of my mind as I was saying that. I was like, well, you know, there's a lot of road courses out there now, so
There are.
they're not quite going round and round as much as they used to.
I mean, technically, it's a big circle. They just make a lot more right turns than they used
There
to.
you go. Yeah.
They start and end in the same place every time.
That's true.
No matter
There you go.
what.
Start and finish still the same.
Welcome back in Main Street Sports today, presented by Mid Tennessee Bone and Joint. And we are joined, as we are every Wednesday, by WCYB TV's Heather Williams. Heather, what's going on?
Hey guys, I heard you guys talking about sponsorship. Now you know my sponsorship obligations are going to have to start and end with Bucky. So if I'm driving a car, if I'm doing sponsorships for you guys, it's got to be the Bucky's number 5 car, I guess, since I work for Channel 5.
You've got
Number
the hat,
5.
the cap, and everything, right?
I'm ready to go.
There we go. There we go. We got to get you a jumpsuit though. So
Yeah, we got to get her
That would be
a fire
amazing.
retardant suit for sure.
yeah, no doubt. It's funny. Obviously, Heather and I are Facebook friends, and one of her memories was of a stand-up that she was doing that was
I wish we could play that. by the
rather
way.
rudely interrupted.
If we
It's
could,
on my Twitter page,
Yes.
WCYB_Heather, if people want to see it. It's interesting.
it was hilarious.
Never a dull moment when you're out there in the field, huh, Heather?
Well, especially when you're at a NASCAR track, approximately 2/3 of the way into the race, in a night race where people have probably been drinking since about 9 o'clock in the morning.
Enough said.
This is, I mean, it's got to be one of the most, you know, we see it a lot, Heather, with the people getting, especially, you know, when you're doing those live stand-ups, people get interrupted all the time. But that is just,
Yeah, at least you weren't live.
there's that.
Yeah. The good news is I was not live and I was able to just wait out. Because there were a couple other things that happened in that video. For those of you that haven't seen it, basically this guy comes up behind me and starts singing and trying to scat, but he's obviously intoxicated, so he's struggling a little bit with it. But there were a couple other things that happened off camera when I wasn't recording that he did, including he tried to dive roll in victory lane, and that did not really work out very
I
well
wish
for
that
him.
had been on camera. That would
I know,
be
me
way
too.
more fun. No, it's pretty cool stuff. We retweeted it as well, so hopefully folks will see that. But as we talk NASCAR, Heather, obviously this past week was certainly, again, interesting as it has been every week with this new car. But Ross Chastain might have cost himself, I guess, clean running in the playoffs, because Denny Hamlin is certainly known for getting back at you. And there was a little dust up. So what can we expect to see in retaliation to that dust up with Ross Chastain and Denny Hamlin?
Well, the thing about it is that Ross doesn't only have to worry about Denny Hamlin, right? He also seemed to manage to make angry, I believe, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Austin Dillon, and Martin Truex Jr. So it's
And
a
yet
pretty
none of
long
it was
list.
his fault.
Well,
my
but
opinion.
it doesn't matter. I mean,
No.
the thing is that I heard a great analogy. Somebody talked about this the other day. If you're the kid that's always in trouble in school, and then something happens in the classroom, everybody's looking at you whether you caused it or not. And that's the status that Ross Chastain has reached. He's the kid that's always in trouble, and every time something happens, people are pointing the finger at him. So, you
Been
know,
there, done that.
why does that not surprise me?
You know,
I think what Ross needs to do, he's comfortably in the playoffs. He's probably too far back now to catch Chase Elliott for the regular season championship. I think that it would behoove Ross over these final 7 races of the regular season to just kind of lay low, collect his top 10s, don't do anything rash, don't try to make anyone else angry, and just quietly make his way into the playoffs. I think that's the best thing for him. And also, short tracks this week at New Hampshire being one of them. Watch your rearview mirror for the number 11, because if he's behind you, it may not be pretty.
so he has 2 options. He can either lay low and do that, or he can come out and say, what are you going to do about it? Let's go. Let's dance,
yeah.
old man. I mean, that's his options. And he could very well do that, because that's kind of how Dale Sr. earned that respect. He just said, okay, what are you going to do about it?
Well, that's what I was going to say. He could go full Dale Senior on them. But I
Why
don't
not?
really know that that's the reputation Ross wants to have. He tries like that, but when he jumps out of the car, that's certainly not the persona he puts on. He's not trying to intimidate people. If he wants to do that, go for it. It's worked for Dale. It certainly worked for Kyle Busch, Kevin Harvick. I mean, there's a number of drivers that persona has worked for. But if he's going to do that, he's got to commit to it. I think the other thing that really annoys drivers is that he makes a move like that, then jumps out with the old Eddie Haskell, oh, shucks, what did I do? And
Yeah.
I think that is as frustrating to Denny and some of the other drivers and how he's acting on the track. If he's going to be that guy, just be that guy.
Just put on the black hat.
Yeah,
You
just
might
Just
as
like
well.
you,
You
just
might
like
as well.
just like the UT baseball.
Yeah.
Just put it on.
Own it. Just own
Yep.
it.
Absolutely.
Anyway, big win for Chase Elliott. Speaking of, as he gets his first win in Atlanta in his home state, and that's if nothing else, it's a great story.
Yeah, for sure. I covered Clint Boyer for years when I was working in Kansas, and I know how much it means for these drivers to win at their home track. I also know how hard it is, how much pressure they put on themselves to accomplish that. So when any driver does it, whether it's a driver I cover, whether it's just, a guy that I see week to week, hometown guy, whatever, I just know how special it is. I know how much Trevor Bayne has wanted to win in either Nashville or Bristol. And so I think it's a great story. Personally, I think it would have been a better story if Corey LaJoie could have hung on and won that race, because here's an underdog team of all underdog teams, right? So that would have been a better story. But Chase is a pretty good backup in my opinion. I mean, it's great to see a guy win on his home track.
All right. Before we get out of last week, I want to mention one other thing. And so we talked a couple of weeks ago about Bubba's pit crew. Well, he got a new pit crew, and Christopher Bell got his old pit crew, and alas, Christopher Bell had a tire fall off in the race. So
yeah, and to be fair, he didn't get the whole pit crew. He only
No.
got two. He only got two members, and it may or may not been the fault of one of the guys that was on Bubba's crew that caused that.
still,
The tire
The
carrier
irony.
was involved. The tire carrier was involved in that, and that was part of what went wrong. So it's possible, but still, you see the mojo, and clearly something's not working with those members of the pit crew, and it is a little ironic. I kind of call it a little bit of I don't want to call karma, because Christopher Bell certainly didn't do anything wrong.
Sure.
But for all those people that were bagging on Bubba and saying that Bubba was complaining and that it was Bubba's fault and Bubba this and Bubba that, clearly the proof's in the pudding, right? He had a completely different group of guys, no pit issues. Now that car had other issues. They had some speed issues, and he scraped and clawed to a top 15 finish. He was out to lunch and in the back most of the day. So he really worked hard to get to where he was, which is also a testament to how well Bubba's been running this year, because even when he doesn't have a good car, he's finding his way forward. But you just see the difference, right? When the mistakes are gone, the car finishes where the car is supposed to finish. There was a 15th to 20th place car all day. He took it to inside the top 15. It was a good day for that team. And I feel bad for Christopher Bell. I talked to Christopher before the race, and he said, you could tell he was kind of annoyed that he was having to answer these questions. He did not want to be in the middle of this. Anything that involves Bubba is pretty toxic. So he certainly didn't want to be a part of that story. But he did say, look, our pit stops have not been that great all year either. So, we're trying to make the playoffs here. He's one of the last guys in on point. So he was hoping that this might improve his pit performance as well. So far, that hasn't been the case, but there's still 7 races left until the playoffs.
Heather Williams with WCYB TV out of the Tri-Cities with us here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Heather, as we look ahead to the 2024 NASCAR Cup season, what is up with Tyler Reddick and 2311, and why would an announcement about a driver joining a team be made a year and a half ahead of when he's actually going to join them?
Well, it is definitely an interesting question, right? A few things here. Denny Hamlin's made it known he eventually wants 2311 to be a 3 to 4 car team. So he wants to get the best drivers in his stable as possible. RCR picked up the final option on Tyler Reddick's contract earlier in the season. So he's locked in. next year at RCR unless RCR wants to buy him out. But after that, he's a free agent, and I think Hamlin didn't even want to let him get on the market. He wanted to lock him up before that happens. The other thing is that Kurt Busch, you know, he is the longest tenured driver. I think he might be the oldest too, but he's definitely the longest tenured driver in the garage area. He's the only active driver right now that drove against Dale Earnhardt Sr., to give you an idea of how long his career has spanned. And he's probably pretty close to retirement. So one or two things is going to happen with Tyler Reddick, in my opinion. He's either going to be a third car, which Hamlin has alluded that he wants to do, or he'll replace Kurt Busch in the 45 when he retires in 2 years, which is also a possibility.
Yeah, I certainly think Curtis is nearing retirement, and guess we'll just have to see what happens to those pit crews in the next few years.
Well, you know, the thing is that I actually got a chance to talk to Denny in a group of media about the pit crews. And, you know, he said, he talked about the cost of pit crew and about getting their own pit crews. But he said, you know, look, right now, there's nobody sitting at home on the couch that's better than what is in the pit crew pools between all the teams now. And as it stands right now, they're not going to be able to, unless they throw a lot of money at guys and lure them away from other teams, they're not going to be able to build a better pit crew from scratch than they're getting from Gibbs, even as much as this team has struggled. So from Denny's perspective, it doesn't really make a lot of sense for them to do anything other than what they've been doing. Although he did leave open the possibility and leave open the door for them to eventually start building their own pit crews. But that takes not only the money to get the guys and lure them away from other teams, but you have to build workout facilities and hire pit crew coaches and all the things that go with that. And I think right now he thinks that their money is better spent on drivers and sponsors and developing that team before they worry about the pit crews.
Remind me again, who owns 2311?
Denny Hamlin and Michael
with
with
and
who?
Michael Jordan, correct?
Yeah, I just kind of feel like
Money really, should be an option.
the competitive side of Michael Jordan is saying, if money is the issue, there is no issue.
Yeah.
Right, but the thing is that too is like, you know, just because you have the money to offer the best jackman in the garage to come to your team doesn't mean he will. You know, he might look at the opportunity to be on the 5 team, you know, which won 9 races, and say, an extra 50 grand isn't worth it for me. I want to win championships. You know, that happens in other sports all the time. So it's not just the money. And as Denny said, there aren't better guys sitting on the couch right now. They have the best possible guys for their situation. And like I said, he didn't dismiss the fact of eventually building their own pit crew, but right now he really feels like leasing this pit crew is the best situation to put 2311 in the best position for success. They just got to figure some things out. He also talked about how young this pit crew is. This pit crew apparently that Bubba had was pretty young, with not a lot of guys with a ton of experience. So I think he's also hoping that this team might be able to build and mature and grow along with Bubba.
That was certainly the hope when they started this season,
Right.
and it hasn't exactly
Maybe
worked
the second
out.
half.
But yeah, maybe
Well,
maybe
you know, they didn't have any mistakes this weekend.
Sure.
So maybe the changes might just be exactly what they need. And hopefully the guys that were making the mistakes will figure it out on the 20 team. I think the stakes are much higher on the 20 team. I think the leash will be much shorter on the 20 team if they're not performing. So, you know, I think in the end, this will probably work out the best for everyone, but I think the person with the most to lose is not Bubba. It's the 20 team. It's Christopher Bell, because they are right on the edge of the playoffs right now.
All right, we go to the short track of New Hampshire. So tell us what's going to happen, Heather.
Picking with Heather, right?
You know,
Who we got?
who knows? We haven't been to New Hampshire. Atlanta was pretty easy to kind of predict, as much as a restrictor plate track, or not restrictor plate, they're not using those anymore, but a speedway can be, because they had been there. But we haven't been to New Hampshire this year. It's kind of a combo of an intermediate track and a short track. It kind of races like a big Martinsville. So, you know, this couldn't be kind of a boring race, because Martinsville was awful. They have made some changes to the next gen car and to the tire compounds that hopefully will help. They also sometimes put resin on the track to widen out the racing grooves there. So they haven't decided as of yesterday whether or not they were going to do that. But if they do, I think that'll help the racing and make the passing better. Eric Almirola won this race last year, and this really seems to be the kind of track where guys that need to get a win, either to get into the playoffs or to advance the next round of the playoffs, who aren't your typical players, not your Kevin Harvicks or your Chase Elliott, are very successful. It was one of the tracks that Clint Boyer, for instance, was really successful at. And he doesn't have a ton of NASCAR wins, but he had one or two there at New Hampshire. So when I look at New Hampshire this week, I think it's a perfect opportunity for a guy like Christopher Bell to get a win if he can fix those pit crew issues. I also think this is the perfect opportunity, and my pick is going to be for Martin Truex Jr. to get a win. He's been pretty close. He's been running probably the most consistently of all the Toyota teams. Toyota has struggled the last few weeks. I think they are going to try to finally figure out what's going on. Truex needs a win to solidify his place for the playoffs. I think this is the perfect place for him to get it.
Martin Truex Jr., that's a heck of a pick.
There we go.
At the Ambetter 301. Guess that's better than worse.
They will be the sponsor in Atlanta next year.
Oh.
I was at the race, so.
Where are you? Oh.
Yes. They
Well.
turned down Atlanta.
Ambetter 301 this weekend at 2 o'clock Central, 3 o'clock Eastern, I believe. So should be a good one. Heather?
Quick question, Heather. Are you coming to SEC Media Days next week?
Sadly, no.
Oh, darn.
I wish
Hate
I
that.
was,
Yeah.
but we have many other stations in our group that have actual SEC teams in their market, and so the way that works is that the company lets them cover it for all the rest of it.
Well, we'll still have you on next Wednesday anyway.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And we can talk about whatever we do with Alabama Bowl at SEC Media Day. That'll be fun.
There you go. Heather, we appreciate it as always. Heather Williams, WCYB TV out of Bristol. When we come back, we have got some college football stuff. And, I found a tweet and it's bad. So we're going to have to talk about it. So stick around. Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone, and join us back after this. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ed Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50 plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, a look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, ZionEagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's ZionEagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
A game without a crowd is just a scrimmage. A performance without an audience is just a rehearsal. Without your presence, high school sports and the performing arts aren't possible. Ensure that these essential extracurricular activities continue to enrich the lives of students in Tennessee. Purchase a ticket to your local high school's game or performance.
This message presented by the TSSAA.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Maury County schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net. Welcome back in Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Chris Yao, Bo Patton, JP Plant is on the controls. And scrolling through Twitter
As we are wont to do.
absolutely. I come across the Gambling Gauchos podcast, and they are obviously Texas Tech fans. Gambling Gauchos, that makes sense. Every Big 12 school's best running back of all time.
Every Big 12 school's best running back of all time.
I will run down the list.
Who is the best running back in Texas Tech history?
Byron Hanspard.
I remember the name.
I couldn't tell you anything about it.
Nothing.
That's
I
according.
think he played for Mike Leach, though.
Yeah, well, I mean,
I guess all of their best
players
players
play for
play
Mike.
for Mike Leach.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Certainly didn't play for Tommy Tuberville. Yeah, you forgot he coached there, did you? You're like, oh yeah, he did coach there.
Oh no, I didn't forget he coached there because I remember how he left.
He wasn't in a pine box. Oh wait, different.
Stop.
Speaking of SEC Media Day.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so here's the list, and this was voted on by folks, I think, in the 1012 Network, which is a podcast network of Big 12 fans. So anyway, Baylor, Walter Abercrombie. All right, so he.
I'm just gonna save one big who for the end of this list.
The runner-up was Shock Linwood. You'll recognize most of these. One of them, though, is when you're going to go, I'm sorry, what? Iowa State's Breece Hall,
he's recent.
He edged out Troy Davis.
Troy Davis was a Heisman candidate, I think, one year.
Yeah, Breece apparently scored a lot more touchdowns than Mr. Harris or Davis or whatever his name was.
Yeah. Okay.
Gale Sayers from Kansas. It's kind of, be hard to say anybody else because who else? Do we know anybody else's name who played at Kansas?
Bill Whittemore played at Kansas, actually.
Okay, well, there you go.
Yeah.
Kansas State, Darren Sproles. Just different. Oklahoma, they got Adrian Peterson.
Well, he had to fight a few guys off, though.
Sure. As a matter of fact, there it does not say who the runner-up was, but there's a lot of great ones.
If you only went on 1 year, you'd have to include Marcus Dupree.
Well,
yeah. Okay, they got a little tradition. They got a little credit running back.
Oklahoma State. Do we even have to say?
Well, yeah, you do.
Do you really?
Well, Thurman Thomas.
Barry Sanders is the greatest running back of all time.
In college football.
Period.
Okay.
You're not convincing me ever on any given. No, Barry Sanders is the greatest running back in the history of football.
Okay.
That is my opinion. Just FYI.
And you're perfectly entitled to
it. No matter how wrong it may be.
I'm not going to tell you it's wrong, but I'm not going to agree with you.
It's arguable.
Yeah.
But he's in the conversation no matter who else is in the conversation. Barry Sanders is in it.
That's fair. Yeah.
Earl Campbell out of Texas.
They still in the Big 12.
I guess if Oklahoma is, they are too.
There you go.
Texas Tech, we mentioned Byron Hanspard. West Virginia, Steve Slayton. Because, I guess technically you could put Pat White in there. He was as good as Steve Slayton at running the football, but he could also chunk it. So there you go.
There you go.
And Texas Christian. Who is the answer?
Is it not LaDainian Tomlinson?
Who is the answer?
Yeah, it's got to be LT, right?
It's not.
Wow.
According to these guys. Zach Evans. Cue your big who.
Who?
Because
how is it not? That pretty well spoils
the entire list.
What are his numbers? Does it give his numbers?
No, but
who? Who? Zach Evans?
Zach Evans.
Who cares?
Did he set a Big 12 record or something that we're not aware of? And did nothing in the NFL.
Zach Evans is an American football running back for the Ole Miss Rebels. Evans attended and played high school football at North Shore High School in Houston, began his collegiate career with TCU, becoming the first 5-star recruit in school history before transferring to Ole Miss.
He barely has 1,000 career yards in 2020. Well, I guess he's only played 15 games. and he's got 1,000 rushing yards. But that's not. I mean, 7.3 yards a carry. That's solid. I won't take that away from him. But he has
1,063 yards.
He hasn't even finished his college career yet.
On 146 carries. Yeah, 7.3 yards per rush.
That's solid.
9 touchdowns.
I'm not. I mean, look, that's solid.
That's solid.
But it's
That's
not
solid.
LaDainian Tomlinson. LaDainian Tomlinson. These people need to be put out to pasture.
Hang on a minute.
He doesn't even play there anymore. So, someone said, you lost me at Zach Evans, who doesn't even play there anymore. Gambling Gauchos. LT doesn't play there anymore either. Checkmate.
All LT did was win the Doak Walker Award
as best running back. Look, the tweet that got me here was someone said, "My brother in Christ, you need to Google quote LaDainian Tomlinson end quote." This is phenomenal.
5,387 career yards, 56 touchdowns at TCU. Consensus first team All-American, Mobile, Alabama Bowl MVP, Doak Walker Award, Jim Brown Trophy, Senior Bowl MVP, two-time All-WAC, two-time WAC Offensive Player of the Year. That's LaDainian Tomlinson, not Zach Evans, by the way.
No, I didn't think that was
Yeah, Zach wasn't even there for 2 years.
barely a year and a half because of COVID. Oh man, let's take a quick.
Oh, by the way, Tomlinson was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2017.
I can't. I don't know who thought this was a good idea.
Okay, I'm done.
Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll try to keep it together.
Good luck.
Stick around.
Zach Evans.
This is Chris Yao with Main Street Sports Today. Every show, Mo Patton and I welcome friends from all across the sports landscape, from high school coaches and reporters to national, college, and pro sports personalities. You never know who might stop by for a chat. AP Tennessee Sports Editor, three-time Tennessee Sports Writer of the Year 2020 TSWA Hall of Famer. She covers the Titans, the Predators, the Grizzlies, college football, and hoops. Please make welcome Teresa Walker.
Former University of Tennessee, former Team USA Olympian, ex-Cy Young Award winner, R.A. Dickey. R.A., did I miss anything?
Man, that was sweet. Yeah, I need to listen to that before I go to bed every night. That was nice.
Has 5 sports Emmys. That's not bad for the other guy in Wham, Ryan McGee.
The other guy in Wham married the best looking girl Bananarama, so the other guy in Wham had a pretty good life.
From preps to pros, we're taking on the sports topics you care about. Tune in across Main Street Media social platforms at 2 p.m. or on demand on your podcast distribution platform of choice. I didn't want to talk about this in the Braves segment, but for whatever reason, Brian Jordan is trending. And look, I like BJ. I think he's fun in the booth. I don't necessarily love Peter Moylan with him. I think Birdie is a little better.
Yeah, I think that there's some chemistry between Bird and BJ, and I don't know why it is, but those two together give you a pretty good call along with the play-by-play guy.
Yeah, and so, well,
yeah,
as much as you can do with play-by-play
guy.
Yeah. I mean, people are getting on BJ here for a few things, but mainly his pronunciation of Slida.
Well,
which, you know,
come on, we all got our.
Yeah. I think here's my thought. I think he's making fun of Peter.
I think he's trying to do the accent.
He's trying to do the Australian accent.
It could be.
Yeah, well, here's what gets me is the way he pronounces that, and then the way he pronounces Spencer Strider. They're not the
They're
same.
not. Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, so you might be onto something.
He's making fun of Peter. Hey, FYI, I don't know if you saw this or not. Yesterday, Christian Pache hit a home run off Tuki Toussaint.
I did see that.
AAA.
And I did see that. In fact, I tweeted Braves on Braves crime. So, yeah.
So I'm just saying. But anyway, yeah, it's folks, we are 50 days to Tennessee Vols football.
Stop it.
50 days. It's pretty exciting.
Assuming the field will be ready.
Assuming the field is ready. I guess we could.
It's not the field. Well, I guess it is a field, though. It's
because they've got
yeah.
well, they've got bulldozers,
Yeah.
and construction equipment on the what would be the playing surface, but it's just dirt right now. So whatever. But it's wild, man. And next week we're going to be wall to wall SEC. It feels like. I mean, we'll still have our regular guests, but pretty much everything else is going to center around SEC football next week, and I'm pretty excited about it.
Yeah, well, it's going to be fun. I mean, it's at the College Football Hall of Fame.
You get to sign up and get your little MTSU light up.
Oh, that's right.
You sign up and get the helmet to
Get a
light
double.
up.
I've never been, so I'm really looking forward
I
to
haven't
it.
either. I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah.
JP will get to light up the Vandy helmet.
No, it's empty. I mean, is it where you went to school?
No,
or is
it's just your
team?
favorite team.
Okay.
So
All right.
you
Since
get to
he
pick.
does middle, I'll do the Vandy just for prosperity. Yeah.
You want to know what else?
They need at least one fan.
You want to know what else I'm looking forward to? Making y'all go to Papados one night.
I like Papados.
Okay.
Papados it's solid.
Mm-hmm.
There's one in Birmingham, and I've always enjoyed it. So next week, 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock, as you see on your screen there.
Extra half hour.
Extra half hour, because again, plenty of SEC football to talk about. So we'll get to it at SEC Media Days live from the ATL. Looking forward to it. So catch us here. Catch us on all the same platforms that you are watching us now. Come back with us. We'll talk Braves right after this on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint.
A game without a crowd is just a scrimmage. A performance without an audience is just a rehearsal. Without your presence, high school sports and the performing arts aren't possible. Ensure that these essential extracurricular activities continue to enrich the lives of students in Tennessee. Purchase a ticket to your local high school's game or performance.
This message presented by the TSSAA.
Second half action here on Main Street Sports Today. Coming up, we'll be joined by, not that way, go this way, and we'll be Craig Sykes, Jacksonville State University AD, and Chris will geek out and talk some Gamecocks sports. But really intrigued about the new edition of the NCAA football and how they're going to be incorporating a lot of different elements, including the stadium, the noise, and things of that nature. So
Chants, the cheers, like that's
yeah,
cool.
So we'll chat with that. Also, it is Wild and Wacky Wednesday, and our daily Braves chatter, which will kick off our second half or our first pitch here in the second half. I don't know, what do you do? We're back from a rain delay. How do you split up a baseball game? Can you? What analogy can we use there? Out of the bullpen?
Arm barn.
It's not a bullpen.
Yeah, it's
An arm barn.
It's an arm barn. No, I don't know. There's not really like a halftime. So
There is no. Yeah.
7th inning
it's a stretch.
Okay, all right. Well, yeah, we're close to that. All right. We'll call it something like that. He's wearing lavender. He's the Hall of Famer Mo Patton. And the man in black from Alabama, Chris Yao. Second half, Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Gentlemen.
Got my hair cut today. Fresh cut for tomorrow morning, Main Street Murray Awards. So I got to look fresh.
bright and early.
Yeah. Man. It's going to be fun.
If you say so.
Yeah, I really got I had to go get a haircut this week before we went to Atlanta. I can't be going to SEC Media Days looking shaggy. So
Yeah,
JP,
like me. Yeah, I'm gonna have to hit my barber
you
up
need to go
on
see, you need
Friday.
to go see your boy.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Guess I'm gonna have to try to run through on Saturday, since I missed the no appointment day on Tuesday.
Oh no,
Oh, yeah.
Saturday is not the day to go to the barber.
I ain't got nothing else to do.
You better not have nothing else to do.
If I'm going to the barber on Saturday, yeah, right.
That's like going to buy a car on Saturday.
Actually, it's by appointment, so I probably need to holler at my boy right about now.
You might
actually,
want to do
as
that.
we speak.
Yeah, I'm just saying because the Atlanta Braves fall today, lose the series to the Mets. The Braves always play down to bad teams. So
there you go. Yeah, let's sell it that way.
They always play down to bad teams. It is what it is. Now, look, the Mets are a good baseball team. The Mets are still not going to win the NL East because
somebody tweeted something. I don't remember if it was last night or Monday night, but they tweeted that, other than it being the Mets, this really has a playoff game feel to it.
Dang. That's whew. I mean, look, the Mets aren't going to, they'll probably get in.
Mm-hmm.
They'll probably get in on a wild card, but I just, even it's July. We haven't hit the All-Star break yet. August is when the Mets usually met. We haven't gotten there yet. And the Braves are just out.
It's like you said, though. They are a good team. When they can run Max Scherzer out there every fifth day, that cures a lot of ills. So I'm not so sure. I hope you're right. I'm not so sure the Mets are necessarily going to met this time.
Look, the best thing they have going for them in terms of that may or may not happen.
It's Buck Showalter.
Buck Showalter. That's the difference. I really feel like he's going to have this team prepared each and every time they go out.
I'm going to tell you though, that roster does not overwhelm me.
The roster doesn't overwhelm you, which is at some point they're going to do what they do. They're going to even out. They're 1-5 pitching rotation without DeGrom.
Mm-hmm. It's not great.
It's not overwhelming. Now, neither is the Braves. The Braves have pitched over their heads for a little bit, but they've also not gotten peak Charlie Morton.
I'm not sure you're going to get peak Charlie Morton after today. I think that Charlie Morton that we're seeing is as good as it gets.
And that very well may be.
But
it's unfortunate because it came after an injury and we don't know what we would have really gotten.
But Mike Soroka
looms.
Is lurking.
Soroka looms. You don't know what you're going to get, but you think it's going to be pretty decent.
Mm-hmm.
At some point, typically after the All-Star break is when Ian Anderson becomes a freak.
And the question becomes, if they don't trade Kyle Muller,
I can't imagine they will.
Then you got him in your back pocket down in Gwinnett as well.
Right.
And he was just, the International League Pitcher of the Month for June.
So
no big deal.
As weird as this is for you guys, I'm sure. I mean, I'm not jumping off any ledges here. I mean, I feel like this team.
Are you hearing this, JP?
It's being recorded. Be careful.
Okay.
Well, and here's the thing. I mean, early in the season, I was ready to jump off the ledge because I knew this is the team that we were capable of being.
Mm-hmm.
And we just weren't putting it together.
It's very frustrating.
It's just frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're seeing over the last month and a half the team that the Braves really are. Sure, they're going to lose some series to teams like the Mets. You went up against their three best. You threw, you didn't throw right against him at all.
Mm-hmm.
And he's your number two probably. You didn't throw your number two against him. So, there's some things to look at and you go, okay, this is going to be a race. It's going to be all throughout August and September.
And we still got 12 more?
Oh, yeah. You got you've got at least 3 more series with them, probably 4.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be a great race. This NL East race will be the best NL East race in a long, long time.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited for some competition in the race. And I don't say that as a slight to any past teams, but I mean, it's more exciting when your magic number isn't, 3 in August.
Well, it kind of takes me back to what, was it 93 when the Braves and the Giants both won
100 games?
Yeah. And you had to battle right to the last day of the season. That's fun.
Those were and that's a fun for us specifically who talk Braves every day. That's what you want. You don't want to be sitting here going, all right, well, we're just waiting on the wild card to finish up. It's not what you want. So congratulations to the Mets. Look, we took it on the chin, and today, I mean, they hit the baseball. I mean, 4 home runs, and then Olsen and Riley hit home runs themselves. Just home runs galore today.
Yeah,
and it is what it is.
Just didn't get them with anybody on base. Hit 3 solo shots in a 7-3 loss. So,
and they had 1 3-run homer.
Yeah.
So that tells you right there where you're at. Let's go back in time and talk about better days.
Better days, no doubt. July 13th, 2012. Chipper Jones ties Mike Schmidt for second place on the all-time list for RBI by a third baseman, knocking in his 1,595th run with a 7th-inning, 2-out solo home run in Atlanta's 7-5 win over the Mets. That would have been nice to have today. Jones is now 1 RBI behind George Brett among players who played the majority of their careers at the high corner. Catcher David Ross filling in for Brian McCann, who is on paternity leave, drives in 4, including a 3-run homer for the Braves. Ross also drew 3 of the 11 walks issued by New York pitchers in the matchup. So,
I do love some David Ross.
Well, I'm glad you like him because I'm not so sure how the Cubs fans
Chicago
feel about him.
Fans like him.
Yeah,
he's a solid dude. Solid dude.
Oh, he's an Auburn guy, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Okay.
But I mean, he was always just fun. Mm-hmm. He was the goofball of the club. So anyway, when we come back, Jacksonville State front and center. Go Gamecocks.
Are you going to rearrange the helmets?
No.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, we might just put it here.
There you go.
Greg SEITZ, athletics director and Waynesboro native, will join us right after this on Main Street Sports Day, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint. Stick around. Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ed Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, ZionEagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's ZionEagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731. 888-5731 and schedule your tour today.
Are you an enthusiastic sports fan? Want to have fun and get in on the action?
Heck, yes. That'd be awesome.
Have great attention to detail? Want to stay active?
Definitely.
Want to give back to the student athletes in your community?
Obviously, yes.
Then you'd make an excellent high school sports official. We need more officials in Tennessee, because with no high school officials, there are no high school sports. Sign up today at highschoolofficials.com.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Maury County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net. Welcome back in Main Street Sports today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Chris Yow, Mo Patton, JP Plant on the controls as we roll on through this Hump Day edition. Wild and Wacky Wednesday coming your way, where we're going to give you the weirdest and wildest news from across the world in the final segment of the day. And boy, do we have some good ones. We do go across the world, by the way. Got one from New Zealand today, so should be a lot of fun. But first, we have a special guest on the line with us today as we get a chance to talk to the Waynesboro native and athletics director at, of course, Jacksonville State University. Go Gamecocks, stay cocky, all of those things. Fear the beak. Greg SEITZ. Greg, what's going on, buddy?
Not much. I'm following Wacky. I'm right before the Wacky News update. So
we figured.
We might have put you on that spot on purpose to lead right in.
Yeah.
Nice little segue there. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly right. How are you guys doing today?
We're doing well, Greg. How about you, man?
Man, it's great. It's been a great year. Obviously, a year of transition for us here at Jacksonville State, and just looking forward to our final year in the ASUN, and looking forward to joining Conference USA a year from now.
We talked to you last year, maybe not quite this time, but during this lull, and talked about, coming out of spring football and going into fall football. It seems like you guys have really kind of been through a lot in a short period of time. And now, like you said, transitioning from the OVC to the Atlantic Sun to the Conference USA in what? Less than 2 years, basically.
Yeah. It has, and that spring football season, and then going right into the fall, we played 24 games within a 12-month period, and it was a lot to undertake. I can assure you that. But we're excited. We got a lot of great things going on at Jacksonville State, and just looking forward to it. We hired Rich Rodriguez as our football coach, so there's a lot of excitement surrounding him, and we opened up the college football season this year playing Stephen F. Austin and Montgomery on that kickoff game on ESPN. So football season will be here before we know it.
Are you kind of thumbing your nose at Alabama fans who thought they had hired Rich Rodriguez back in another life and couldn't quite keep him?
I tell you, it is funny. I do use that when I go around and talk to different groups and stuff, that, we were fortunate at Jacksonville State to do something they weren't able to do in Tuscaloosa. But, I think the Alabama fans will tell you, it turned out pretty good for the
It worked out okay.
Yeah.
Well, and not only do you have the kickoff game, you've got and Rich Rodriguez, of course, but you guys are going to play Tuna at Toyota Field, and that's going to be an interesting dynamic, trying to play football on a minor league baseball field.
It is. We went down and did a site visit actually last week, Chris, and it's a beautiful stadium, and for Jacksonville State, that's our third largest alumni fan base is up in the Huntsville, Marshall, Madison area, and so we're excited about that. It's actually North Alabama's home game. They decided to move that game out of Florence and take it to Huntsville, and we were excited about that opportunity just for our fans and stuff. I think it kind of neutralizes it, right? Instead of having a home field advantage in Florence, we'll have, I'm guessing over half the fans in attendance there. So that should be a great event. It's a beautiful stadium. It is going to be a little interesting. We're actually going to have to play the offense one way because of the field. It's only 107 yards long. And so we'll be able to do kickoffs and punts that way. But once we get the ball set, we're going we're going to flip the offense and play in one direction.
So one end zone is going to be 3 yards short, basically.
It is. So that'll be the end zone that, the defense will, defend on that part. So, I mean, if you get an interception or a fumble return or whatever, they're not going to blow the play dead, right? You'll continue on and you could score a touchdown in that aspect. But, so it is. I think what Illinois Northwestern did that game at Wrigley Field.
Huh.
So
I wasn't paying enough attention to Big Ten football to pick up on that, but yeah, that makes sense. You just mentioned it kind of negating the home field advantage of playing in Florence. I mean, like you said, when they pitched that to y'all, I imagine you're like, heck yeah.
Yeah, you're exactly right. That's exactly. I was like, yeah. I said, as long as we can get, it's a smaller stadium than what they have in Florence. So we're getting roughly 40% of the tickets to sell. We have obviously our fan base travels well. We have a great crowd. Our Marching Southerners will be in attendance as well. So, when they pitched that to me, I, made sure that the band could be there again. That's important to us. And then, with the ticket allotment, we settled on a number. So, yeah, I mean, I'm excited about it. I think our fans will be excited about it as well. And it's a beautiful venue. It's only a couple of years old there. So it should be a lot of fun.
In Margaritaville, just outside the stadium. So there's that. That certainly doesn't hurt the game day experience, I can assure you. Greg, one of the things, and you just mentioned the Marching Southerners, and that's one of the cool things that I want to talk to you about is Jacksonville State being implemented into the NCAA football game. Are you guys working with the EA Sports right now and getting some of those cheers, those the fight songs and that sort of thing? Are you guys working with them right now?
Yeah, we absolutely are, and we've submitted all the material and requested information that they asked for back in I guess it was a late winter, early spring, for all that information, and obviously a lot of our cheers, band songs, fight songs, all those things. We got those submitted, and a lot of anticipation about that being released. I think only FBS schools are involved in that, so it'll be another benefit for us by making this transition and move up is to do that. And I think we all remember the old EA Sports game when you had all the FCS schools and those, and it was always fun. We struggled there for a while, Chris, after our Auburn game to get those FBS opponents. So in that scenario, was able to play any of those FBS opponents that we wanted to.
And I guess after Florida State last year, you were going to struggle again. So I guess it's a good thing you're up now.
Yeah, exactly right. I will tell you, and it has been a lot easier scheduling from that standpoint now that we're an FBS school. And, we're excited. We're playing at South Carolina next year. That's our first 7-figure game that I call it. And we've never been to Columbia yet. So it'll be the Gamecocks against the Gamecocks on November the 4th of 2023. We're looking forward to that. But, we're getting a $1.3 million paycheck for that game. And, as we build our financial model in this move to Conference USA and FBS, we knew that those games were, on the horizon, but it was actually nice to get that contract signed and get that signed, sealed, and delivered, just to, kind of put some icing on there to say, yeah, it is true. It can happen for us.
Greg SEITZ, the athletics director at Jacksonville State University in Jacksonville, Alabama, joining us here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Greg, Chris put out a Instagram story today that you were going to be on the show with us, and friend of the show, Chip Walters, mentioned that I didn't realize Greg was from Waynesboro. And I'm like, how did you not? Because that's where I first encountered you at the state basketball tournaments when you were coming up here with Wayne County as their sports information guy back in the day. You spent so much time at Jacksonville State as their athletics media relations guy. Did you ever see yourself sitting in this chair?
Mo, I really didn't. And I think it's just, a unique opportunity for me. And, media relations was always kind of my forefront. I went to the North Alabama and worked for Jeff Hodges, who is a legend in the sports information world. And then, like you said, I would come up and Ed Given would always be the longtime MTSU SID. And I really just enjoyed that side of it. But, Jacksonville was just a special place. And when I got there and I'd served as the interim AD, I think because of my longevity. This past June, I began my 30th year at Jacksonville State, which is, honestly, it's kind of unheard of these days to be at one place so long. But it's just a great place for me, a great fit, great people. We have such a supportive board of trustees and president, and coaching staff that, it's a great fit for me. So to answer your question, 20 years ago, did I ever imagine I'd be the athletic director? That certainly wasn't my goal, but I sure am glad, that I am at Jacksonville State.
You get to do a lot of cool stuff.
He does,
because you get a chance to, you're working the tables at the Final Four. You are, dealing with replay
at the CWS,
at the College World Series. Like, that's got to be, something that you couldn't have imagined when you started this career.
No, I really didn't. And I'm such a huge baseball fan. And I've been fortunate. I work as a primary site rep for the NCAA. Been doing that since 2013. Been to Nashville many times. But, this past year or just last month, I was in Knoxville and I ran that regional and super regional. And I know a lot of certainly disappointed Tennessee fans with the way that game ended and, Notre Dame winning it. And then I got to go to Omaha for the first week this year and work out there. But yeah, I'm very blessed, very, very fortunate. I've worked 13 NCAA Division I men's Final Fours. I've worked the College World Series for the last 3 years, and like I say, served as a site rep since 2013. And it's a lot of fun, I tell you.
I tell you, it's always been cool for me when I'm watching a game and all of a sudden there's a glimpse of Greg. It's like, man, there's Greg Seitz.
He's everywhere.
He's everywhere. Who's that guy with Greg Seitz? Yeah, it's pretty cool. It really is. And I imagine it's really cool for the folks back at home too.
Yeah, it is. And, and obviously in Waynesboro, there are a lot of Tennessee Volunteer fans and stuff. And unfortunately, it wasn't good this year because after Drew Gilbert got ejected and Frank got tossed from that Friday night game, I was actually in the dugout, and I guess the camera had zoomed in because I could feel my phone vibrating in my pocket. Right? So I was like, okay, I must be getting a little TV time. But little did I know I actually got more than I bargained for.
That's hilarious, but it's also super cool, and we love. It's kind of a game.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes
see if we can find Greg.
It's find Greg Seitz, and we do it more often than not. One of the cool things I'm excited about, Greg, is you guys obviously have been coming to Belmont for the last few years, and for basketball and other sports, but JSU hasn't played football in Middle Tennessee for a long time, and a trip to Murfreesboro in the next few years is going to be a lot of fun for me specifically. But, playing these teams like Middle and Western and, getting trips to FIU, that's never a bad thing either. So it's going to be another transition, another challenge to move up. But how do you feel like Jacksonville State is competing at this time?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I started at Jacksonville State in '93. And so that was really the beginning of the transition from Division II to Division I. And so we had 2 years of transition. Then 1995 was our first full year of Division I. And at that time, we actually played Middle Tennessee home and home. And then we played Western Kentucky in some playoff games and played them home and home. So it's going to be great to go back and now be able to play both of those schools specifically, as we transition to Conference USA. And I'm hoping, Chris, that we learned a lot during that transition from Division II to FCS, and I was a part of that, certainly not in the role that I am in now. But there were some things that, we learned during that transition that we're going to take forward as we transition to FBS. Obviously feel like we'll be competitive both with, our men's basketball program with Ray Harper leading us and us winning the ASUN this year, the regular season, and getting a trip to March Madness. And then obviously with him being formerly at Western Kentucky, that's going to be, I think, a natural rivalry. And then obviously since he was at Western, we know what the Middle Tennessee rivalry is like, right? So I think it's just going to be a lot of fun. to get back and play those folks and see some old friends reunite. Chip is a great guy. I've respected him and done a fantastic job at middle. And of course we hadn't played him in a while, but just to re-engage and get back. And Mo, in this business, and you too, Chris, that, even though you're competitors on the field, some of your closest friends, work at other institutions in your leagues.
The question that me and every other Jacksonville State fan wants to know, though, is now that we are FBS, how long is it going to be before we make the trip south?
Listen, I've been working on that for several years. And, for the folks up in Tennessee may not know, he's talking about our game against Troy. Most Jacksonville fans still call them Troy State.
Troy State.
Right? So they still call them Troy State. They just can't drop the state part of it. But I've been there.
Can't or won't.
That's
Greg.
a good point, Chris. That's a good point. I'm going to say won't drop it, honestly. So, but when you look at our message boards, that's how most of our fans refer to it. But it is something we have played them and do play them in baseball and softball. But obviously, I know, and we've played in basketball a couple of times. But I know that our fans want to get back on the football field and play them. And it's two of the best battle of the bands that you'll have with. The sound of the South and Troy and our marching Southerners, they stay and play for a long time after the game. So I'm working on it. And so we just got to get a little cooperation from the folks down South to make it happen.
Greg, you mentioned, and when these realignments take place, everybody looks at football. Everybody looks at basketball, men's basketball in particular. Jacksonville State softball has been a perennial Ohio Valley Conference championship contender. How do you feel like these moves impact that program?
Oh, I think it's really good and positive move. The ASUN, and no disrespect to the OVC softball, but the ASUN softball is just it's outstanding. I mean, they get multiple teams in every year, and our softball team was certainly improving. And we lost in the semifinals this year. Lost to the eventual conference champion, and there's no doubt if we were playing in the OVC, we would clearly have been the better team. But softball is very important to us. We have a longtime coach in Jana McGinnis who's done an outstanding job. She won 13 OVC championships in 18 years, so that just tells you the caliber of program. That was either regular season or tournament title. But we were very dominant in that league, and we want to, continue to do that. And softball, I mean, as much as I love baseball, softball is just a great game because it's so fast-paced.
We here at this show have a vested interest in one of your softball players. In fact, your ASUN player, freshman of the year this past spring, Kat Carter. Really looking forward to seeing her improve on what she did this year. She was a great get for you all, obviously.
Yeah, and I think honestly that's what kind of happens with by playing teams up, and with Austin Peay joining the ASUN, we'll be playing them, but with middle and them, it just kind of creates more exposure for some of our other sports, maybe the recruiting aspect of it. And we can get some more players from up there because now they know when Jacksonville State comes up to Murfreesboro or up to Bowling Green that their family and friends get an opportunity to come out and see them play and compete.
Certainly an exciting time at Jacksonville State, as you mentioned, Greg, and we're so excited to follow what the Gamecocks are doing. Obviously, we keep you close to the heart here. I know we don't have a middle helmet yet, but we're working on it. But until then, JSU will stay right here. So we appreciate it, and we appreciate you for everything that you do and being so gracious enough to come on the show and talk about what's going on at Jacksonville State. I know a lot of our listeners probably are confused until we get the Waynesboro note in there. But until then, we appreciate it again, and looking forward to having you on in the future.
Yeah, thanks so much. I appreciate it. Looking forward to it, and enjoy the show. I catch you guys when I can, and it's always fun to listen. You bring some great perspectives and have some great guests on your shows.
Well, thanks, Greg. We appreciate it.
Oh, let's take a break, Mo, and talk a little weird, wild, and wacky news from across the world. Let's do that.
Nobody does it better than you.
I don't know that that's entirely accurate. There are people out there who might be a little better at it, but I will take number 2 on the list. So I'm top 2.
There you go.
Me and Lance Taylor. We're top 2. So y'all come back with us. It is Wild and Wacky Wednesday right after this. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ed Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, ZionEagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's ZionEagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
A game without a crowd is just a scrimmage. A performance without an audience is just a rehearsal. Without your presence, high school sports and the performing arts aren't possible. Ensure that these essential extracurricular activities continue to enrich the lives of students in Tennessee. Purchase a ticket to your local high school's game or performance.
This message presented by the TSSAA.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net.
It's time to get a little wild and wacky on this Wednesday, Hump Day edition, as we bring you back in here on Main Street Sports today for the two zaniest guys this side of the Duck River. We're going to go to the other side. Are we going to the other side of the Duck River next week?
Yes.
It is. Is
Listen,
that officially
okay.
the other side?
Okay, so let me just say this. I went west, and I can't remember exactly where I went, but I had to go through Hickman County to get there, and I crossed the Duck River like 7 times. One way. Like, I counted. I started counting. I was like, this can't be right. Seriously? 7 times? Then I did the one extra. I went down Bear Creek just so I could go back over it one more time on Tom J. Hitch.
There you go.
Just one for good measure. Oh man, let's get into it. Wild and Wacky Wednesday here as we start with, well, in AP style, Florida boy, 16-year-old. Not Florida man, but one day. Potentially.
Soon to be a man.
Potentially. I mean, not if he continues on this path. He may not make it. As Hernando County, Florida Sheriff's Office charged a 16-year-old after he purposely crashed into the sheriff's office building after fleeing from a deputy. The deputy attempted to conduct a traffic stop on the driver of the vehicle in the area of Cortez Boulevard and was determined that it was a 16-year-old male. As the deputy approached the vehicle, the driver proceeded to drive off and then made an immediate U-turn and headed westbound on Cortez Boulevard. And as he approached the intersection of Cortez and West Jefferson Street, he drove through a red light. In an abundance of caution, that phrase.
Right.
The deputy disengaged from attempting to stop the vehicle. The driver sped north on Cobb Road, and the deputy was able to run the vehicle's tag number, determined it was a rental vehicle. And less than an hour later, reports were received that a vehicle crashed into the Hernando County Sheriff's Office main building, and it was, in fact, the rental vehicle driven by the 16-year-old. The total damage estimated at $16,000. Now, first of all, you got away from the police. They don't necessarily, I guess they didn't know who you were. It's a rental vehicle, so your name certainly wasn't on the rental contract.
No, not at 16.
Because you were 16.
Right, yeah. Was that a stolen rental?
I don't know. You got away. And then you, again, 16-year-olds don't make the best decisions. We had this conversation earlier today.
We did have that conversation.
In our editorial meeting that the driving age should be higher than 16.
Think so?
Well, that was the point that was made during our conversation. Personally, I kind of liked it being at 16, especially when it got me out of driving to 5 a.m. wrestling practice.
You get a little time back to yourself.
Yeah.
That's interesting. He got away and decided not good enough.
Y'all couldn't catch a 16-year-old. What's up with that?
Anyway, let's go to another Florida man who tried to escape deputies but was less successful than the 16-year-old, but probably because of his choice of vehicle. It was not a rental car. It was, in fact, a John Deere. I mean, he tried to cut and run. Well, come on now.
I got nothing. It reminds me of the Vince Gill song.
Yeah. She forgot about my old John Deere.
There we go. Give me just one more last chance.
Well, that's what Dusty Mobley's asking for. He's the 40-year-old was behind the wheel of a John Deere lawnmower, and police shouted at him to hit the ground. The law-breaking landscaper, they said, had several outstanding warrants and managed to escape a prior arrest attempt by jumping off of a stolen boat and vanishing into a swamp.
Oh, man.
This man really wants to get away from the police. If you jump into a swamp, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
No. He floored the
successfully.
Well, who else is going to jump into a swamp in the right mind?
But he made it out.
Yeah.
Good for him, but I mean, the odds of that are probably less than even.
Oh, yeah.
So, in Florida? No. Apparently, as he was trying, he floored the lawnmower, tried to putter away from deputies who hustled after him on afoot.
Floored the lawnmower.
They caught up with him, zapped him with a taser before taking him into custody. They nabbed him in January as he was suspected of cutting through a fence and stealing a boat.
Chris, how jealous are you that you didn't get to write this story?
I told you. I wrote the story about the girl who stole the tractor wearing a bathing suit, so this is pretty similar. Anyway, I did. I don't know how. I don't know what the jail time is, but it's probably going to be a long time.
Oh God.
Oh goodness.
We're 50 seconds too long.
Thank God.
Cut that one off.
Oh.
Come back with us.
How long you been sitting on that one?
It was actually the people who wrote. I didn't.
Oh, that's not you?
That wasn't me.
Oh.
Come back with us tomorrow, 2:00. It's going to be a lot of fun. We've got
Clint Wright, new Lawrence County baseball coach, and we've got Cumberland Athletics Director Ron Pavin.
So come back with us. It's going to be a lot of fun. Main Street Sports Today for Mo and JP. I'm Chris saying have a great day. See you then.